you really know how much it costs to eat what you're eating?
$1? $20? What is it?
Well, let me tell you something. When you really look at these numbers, it will completely change the way you look at food and how you're spending food. But if you're new to our channel, I'm Julia.
And I'm Aaron.
We're a small homestead family in rural Virginia that work every single day to merge homesteading and frugality. And I'll tell you, I always try to lean on the cost of keeping our meals as cost effective as possible.
You know where I think this really started from?
Where?
When you used to take chili to work all the time.
It did. I took chili and then my chickens in the evenings.
Because that's how you would calculate how much it cost.
It is. I would make one batch of chili every month, and I really would. I'd have a little container, these stupid, teeny tiny, like we had 30 of these in the freezer in there.
More than 30.
And I would put them on top of a baked potato or rice, and I would just pull one out the night before, and it would be ready to eat the next day. And that's what I would eat every day for work.
Every day. Every day.
Without fail. But that is true. And if you are like us and you like this type of content, we would really appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to leave a comment down below. We love responding to you all.
Absolutely. But it transformed me. It transformed how I look at food and how I cook food. And I think I brought that into our relationship and into our marriage. Mm-hmm. I think I did, because I always look at food like, how can I make this cost effective, but still good and filling and hearty, and still making sure that you're satisfied.
Right.
Make sure everybody's happy. And I'll tell you, once I started looking at that, and I wasn't just looking at what looks good. Like you were a what looks good person.
I was.
You were a what looks good. I'm more of a what makes the most sense economically and what looks good. They both work together. You can still do a what looks good, but if it's going to cost me like $12 a pound or $12 a serving, to me that's the cost gives me sticker shock. But you didn't look at it that way, because you were chicken tenders and a big salad, and I don't think you looked at the cost.
Right.
You just bought it.
I looked at it from ease.
So it will change you into a frugal cook. This is the tip that will change you. If you feel like you aren't frugal and you don't know how to look at your food frugally, this is going to change you into a frugal cook, because it transforms how you look at food. You recognize how much one meal or one serving is actually costing you. You will look at it completely different. You just will. You don't have a choice but to look at it different. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, this rice pasta that I make, it costs $6 per plate. And I'm not saying you can't have this really expensive meal, but you might not have it once a week anymore.
Right.
You might have it once a month as a treat, as a special meal, because we say we treat ourselves, but if we're not actually looking at this and knowing what we're spending on food, we might not really be doing our grocery shopping with frugality in mind. We might be just grocery shopping for what looks good. And even me, I won't buy things that are on sale that are a good price just because I like them. Because the price is still too much for me to spend per serving. We can get shrimp on sale, and we do rarely.
Rarely anymore.
Because for me, the cost per serving does not make sense. Since I've really started pushing this through, and being a frugal cook, as frugal as I can be, it does not make sense for us.
And where we've sort of cut back to whole ingredient type of things, like used to, we would always have a bag of frozen, popcorn shrimp on hand. Always on hand, and we'd have it, maybe on weekends.
On the weekends for a quick meal. Now I kind of look, and I still have some quick meals, still have some convenience meals, but I try to make sure to check the ingredients.
Right. After we looked at the ingredients and those, we were like, we got to stop this.
So here's a good example. When we first got together, Aaron went grocery shopping, and he spent like $200 or more on a grocery shopping because I gave him a list and he didn't know how to shop. There's a big difference in seeing a roast on your grocery budget that you might spend $12 for. You get like 2 pounds, it's $6 a pound. That's cheap in our area. That's very cheap. I think roast right now on sale is like $8 for us. I think I saw it one day, it was $6 with a $2 off coupon, but you had to spend a certain amount. That wasn't something we were getting. If you start looking at it as that roast costs every single plate divided by the number of people that you're feeding and how far you're going to pull that roast costs $2 to $3 per plate. And that's the only thing that you're calculating on that plate. You're not calculating all the side dishes, all the other effort, all the other work. You will look at your food differently. Now, I would take that $12 roast and I would turn it into a week's worth of meals.
Yep.
Because I would turn that into a soup.
Yes.
Or something like that. Because I knew to stretch that by taking it and making it more of a part of a meal, not the star of a meal. But that is what I would do to maximize the cost of that roast and to lower the price per serving. But once you look at your buying, how you're buying it, how you're actually putting it together, it will change how you cook every single time. So what do? This you calculate cost per serving. Cost per serving is a really simple formula.
This is something she's very passionate about.
It is. It is something very passionate about. And I like it because it just, you cannot lie with the numbers. Now, I will tell you, I actually go up on my numbers for cost per serving.
She always goes up on
I go up on
her
everything.
numbers.
I go up on everything. So, and these are approximate, but I go up on my numbers. I always assume it's going to cost a little bit more. My average is $1 per person. That's where I like to be, or under. Some meals won't be. Some meals can cost us a little bit more. If I make homemade crescent rolls, the cost of the butter is going to take that up. It's going to take it up. But they're not something we have very often.
No.
It is not something we have very often. These are something that I will make every once in a while, and I try to make sure I get my butter on sale and all the good things to actually make those for us. And I also like to keep our week meals, all of our meals, $20 to $30 per week total in costs. That includes meat and everything. So I look, how much do I want to spend on meat? I like to keep mine at $3 a pound or less. That means I'm going to eat cheaper cuts of meat. That's okay. Can you tell? Can you tell we use cheaper cuts of meat?
No, but
Not anymore?
Not anymore. But a lot of it's just the way we cook it.
It is.
You know, because I can't tell, you might get like a tougher cut. If you pressure cook it, it's
the
not
Instapot
tough.
Changed everything. When I told Aaron I wanted to Instapot it,
I didn't think she'd ever use it.
he did. He's like, she'll never use this thing. You do that a lot with me. I ask for things and you're like, she's never going to use this thing. Now, there are certain tools that I have that I use every once in a while because they're not made to use all the time. Like my roaster. It's not for all the time cooking, but when I need it, I need it.
Right.
And so I have two examples here, cost per serving, that I've broken down. And the first one's going to be oatmeal. And I'm going to have you turn it so I can see this. So oatmeal for us, I can get it at 61 cents a pound. Now, I buy oatmeal by 50 pounds bags. We eat oatmeal. We like oatmeal. Whenever I'm not on a high protein diet, we eat a lot of oatmeal. It's cost effective. It's 61 cents a pound. A pound is approximately between 4 to 5 cups of oatmeal. So say I use 1 pound a week for our oatmeal. And I'm doing this by 10 on this one. The little one has not gotten her taste for oatmeal yet.
No, not yet.
But we're getting there. It's slow but sure. And so that would be approximately 5 cups divided by 10. That is right around 6 cents per serving for just oatmeal. Now, if I add sugar and vanilla, and I've learned to cut that way back, I'm going to give you probably 10 cents. I'll even give you 15 cents per serving, but it's not much more than that. And a lot of times I might just pull fruit out of our pantry and use that. Now, that was without fruit. We do a lot of fruit with ours, or a lot of jelly or jam. If I do fruit, a can of fruit at my grocery store, we would get that for $1.25. I do our own because it's cheaper for us, because we have a lot of fruit trees, we have a lot of fruit bushes, so we can a lot of our own fruit. So I give you $1.25, 10 servings. That is going to be, tell them,
14 cents.
14 cents per serving. I'm sorry, your parfait that you buy already pre-made is not that cheap. It's not.
Yeah.
That's a really good price. If I make granola, I can still make it cheaper using the 1 pound method here. Anything that I want to make with something like this, because the ingredients, they're good, they're filling, they're going to keep us, going throughout the day. This works for us for breakfast. And this is one of the reasons we like oatmeal. And Aaron's learned to like oatmeal.
It is because of the cost of it.
Was Aaron before, how would you eat oatmeal? You'd eat the packets.
I'd eat those packets. And I didn't like those packets, but I knew they were cheaper.
That's when you could get a box for $1.
Yes.
You could get a box for $1.25.
Mm-hmm.
We've not gotten those in years. We bought them when we were doing the house remodel because they were easy.
Mm-hmm. I used to take them hiking.
Yeah.
A lot because you just put them dry pack in your bag and pull them out and put them in water, type of thing.
And eat and go. Now the next thing is a dinner, and it is Mexican pasta. So I will keep $3 for the meat. I don't know what meat I'm going to use. I might use chicken. I might use a pound of sausage, typically, or a pound of hamburger that I got for $2.50. I'm going with $3. That would be typically what I would use. But a lot of times it'll be a little cheaper because if I use sausage, which is our preference, that's about $2.50 when I can catch it on sale. Pasta is going to be 2 boxes. That will be $3 because I try to get my pasta at $1.50 per box.
And that's what we get for more of the organic.
Yes, for the more organic. Because I did see it went back down to 89 cents, but a lot of times pasta in our area is about $1. Salsa, 1 jar. That will be $2 if I get it on sale.
We get them usually 2 for $4.
Or I can get them 3 for $5. So I went with the higher one. Tomatoes, 80 cents for 1 quart. Now, again, we grow our own tomatoes. I grow a lot of tomatoes just a can because we eat a lot of tomatoes in our house. So this is how we do it for us. So I kind of, went with what 1 can would be because it's cheaper for me to can my own tomatoes. The next one is going to be beans, 30 cents for a third of a pound, which is about a third of a bag of beans. That's about 1 quart jar.
And this we usually have black beans here.
Black beans, yes. So our black beans, pinto beans, and navy beans that go on sale for 88 cents a pound for us. And when they do, I don't care. I have tons of beans. I buy them at that price because there's going to be months where they're not on sale, and I just go ahead and get them. Seasoning, I'll give you 50 cents.
Because you can usually get those packets 50 cents.
Well, no, I make it homemade.
Well, I know we do.
We make it homemade. Look, you can find those packets. You can get them on sale. But I will typically make my own from all the things I have on hand. Cheese, you can do $2 for a half of a pound. That's 8 ounces. That's my typical price that I pay for cheese. I'll get 2, buy 1, get 1. They'll be $4, so I get 2 for $2. Sometimes I can get cheaper. Sometimes I can get 2 pounds for $6, and I will get that. I used to be able to get the 8 ounces for 3 for $5, but I've not caught that in a while. But I'll give you the $2. Total cost is $11.60 or 97 cents per 12 servings. And I'm giving you all 12 servings because our little one, she's not eating like a full serving of anything yet. But 2 servings out of the whole batch is probably what she would eat altogether. That's pretty good for a dinner. And they're filling. It is good.
It's good.
It's good.
Now, I will usually add some
peppers or salsa.
On top of mine.
Or hot sauce.
Or hot sauce,
I will add some hot sauce to mine. But again, we get those on sale. These are things we always have in our pantry.
Well, we grow the peppers anymore.
Yeah, we grow the peppers. We do. But my attempt at homemade hot sauce did not go well.
Burnt me up.
Burnt you up. We were in the kitchen.
When her and the little one was coughing because it was so hot.
It was an experience, and if he wants it again, he'll make it himself. That's all I'm going to say. But this is what I really look at. Knowing these numbers changes everything. Everything. But we meal prep. So if you're making this for 1 meal, your costs, you're just going to cut back how much you use. Yeah. Based on your family. But if you have a big family, 97 cents per serving, $11.60, you're feeding 8 to 10 people. That's a cheap meal. Yeah. That's a cheap meal. I mean, it really is. So you can do and feed your family really good food, really filling food for hardly anything if you really put the time and effort into finding a few good meals you could throw into your rotation where the cost is under $1 per serving. That's like the key. Keep it $1 per serving or less. I like to keep our breakfasts and lunches at around 50 to 75 cents. And
stuff like this can help get you out of debt.
It can. It can help get you out of debt, because if you're new to our channel, you might not realize we are 100% debt-free. We are debt-free millennials. I know, out in the wild, that feels like it is a very rare thing to see.
Yeah. But stuff like this is
how we do it.
Is how we did that.
It is. By eating oatmeal in the mornings and changing up the oatmeal by putting a different taste of jelly or jam that I make homemade off the fruit from our homestead and things like that. That is how we did this. We really watched what we were spending our money on at the grocery store. We really watched our pennies, because people say, oh, if you do all this extra work, you save all this extra money at the store, it doesn't matter, because you're only saving $100 here, $100 there. $100 add up, and that's an extra $100 to pay off a credit card. That's an extra $100 that you have to spend to put in your emergency fund. All these things matter. Definitely. They really, really do. You have anything else to add?
No, it's worth it. You might not think it is at times, but
he probably didn't when we first got together. The way I cook and the way he was eating were totally different.
Right. So it is totally worth the amount of savings that you can do. If you're debt free, maybe even get you to retirement quicker.
It might. It really might. That's always like everybody's talking about. I want to retire. I want to enjoy it. Work on it. Yep. You have to be willing to put the work in, and this is for us an easy place for me to put that effort. And I think if something were to happen to me, Aaron would still go through and he would look at food differently because of how I have, kind of transformed how we look at food in our family. Because for me, it's always been about, how do I fix a really good, nutritious meal? And it's gotten more about nutrition and good and wholesome. We don't eat the ultra-processed foods often anymore. Right. Very, very little. And it has helped. It helps.
Yeah. Well, if you got any comments, questions, make sure you leave those down below, and go over and check out our link tree, which has links to all the other social media sites we're on. And
as always, thank you for joining us on the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.